Thank you. Normally, I like to stand up. I felt like, tonight I still have to do service in my kitchen. I need to sit down for a change. Today, I really want to share my journey, what makes me today, and also the way I am, the way how I think, and also how I think about culture, and how I think about sharing the food to the world. My name is Susur Lee. I've been cooking since 1974. Some people call me a Yoda of chef. I grew up in Hong Kong. I grew up in Hong Kong with a family of 6 children, and I was the youngest one. And my mother was a working mother, and she was working for the British Army, and she always been very, very busy. And so is my father. So in terms of the childhood upbringing, it's all about, give you some small change of pocket of money, and then you go to school and get your own breakfast and get your own lunch. So during that time, I have already developed anything outside not home cooking because my mother is such a terrible cook, which is very truth. So what really inspired me was my father. My father was the one who grew up with sort of like an upper crust family when he was young. And so he has Alma who took care of him and, making him good food and, sharing all this different region of cooking in his household. So when we get together at night, I always worry about my mother's cooking because my mother said, today I don't have very much time. I already have one big pot putting in the middle. So my father said, don't worry, son. Tomorrow I'll take you to dim sum. So I'm so excited. Every time my father said, I'll take you out to a restaurant. And restaurant for me is sort of like tasting different things. If my father was a person who loved gambling, horse racing, and every time when we go to a dim sum restaurant, he would open a newspaper and he would say, son, just order whatever you want. So by the time he folded his newspaper and he looked at me and he said, oh my God, you ordered so much food. One thing that really stuck in my mind was the Cantonese black bean sauce, which is I grew up in Hong Kong, which is a very typical sauce that they use a different variety of Cantonese cooking. So all these days stick in my mind. And then when I grew up, become a young man, I wanted to, not going to school, wanted to just be a very physical person and go out to hang out with kids on the street. So during that time, I really found myself, I'm not a school person. I'm the one who wanted to experience physically, mentally, and being there and taste things. Food, it developed with such a young passion when I was really, really young because the area where I used to live, when you open the door, pretty much you can smell the food on the street. So the smell and also the taste from my father who takes me out to all these different restaurants, it stuck in my mind. It's almost like a sort of not doing very good in school, and this is something that my parents encouraged me to say, I'll take you out to dim sum and give you something great to look forward. Then, of course, we have to, take care of the family. Everybody works. And one day, I decided to leave home. My brother said, okay, you're living with me, but you have to start paying rent. So you're coming to work with me. So he was working in front of the restaurant, and then he put me in the kitchen. And then I realized the community of young guys that we all surrounding with the same kind of liking in terms of personality, in terms of like to stay out really late at night and getting up really early and start going back to work, and become sort of like a family union for me. And it was really in such a great comfort zone. And then I starting to learn about tools in the kitchen, which I love, seeing them, the sound of chopping, the sound of slicing, and the variety of all these different vegetables and meat around me, and the smell. During that time, my first kitchen, it was not exactly a very clean kitchen, what I call it. And I really found myself really understand the smell, what that means when you walk into a professional kitchen. Then I experienced another kitchen, which is in a hotel, and starting to understand Western food, which in the beginning I did not understand what that is. And why is it putting butter, and why is it putting cream? Not necessarily was my favorite taste bud. I always doing as a job in the beginning. So my passion is starting to build from the cultural aspect. Then I got a chance to, the first time I ever left Hong Kong, recognized Hong Kong is such a small island. And then I went to the Philippines and realized the culture is so different, the music, the people, the market. So I recognized the culture, which I have never actually learned when I was in school, about food culture. Then I started to travel more and wanted the food in the mind. I needed to have that experience because I don't read very much. All I have to do is a sense of what I landed when I hear the sound, the languages, also the food, the taste, and also the smell in the air. And by the end, I was very happy that, traveled around the world, landed in North America, which is, Canada is the most multicultural in the city. And then I was already a very well-trained chef. And I found myself, my first restaurant that I have opened, and I felt that was the most freedom of my cooking, which I have learned from the East and the West. So I remember the black bean sauce that I have tasted, and then I have made, the Cantonese black bean sauce with scallop immersed with emotion with red pepper and yellow pepper coulis. It's sort of like that European and Chinese mixture. And there was the time I felt there was something really felt into my heart. This is what I love to do. Then I explored more. Then I took my son to Thailand, and then I was warming up food in the kitchen. And suddenly, I walked in this kitchen. I feel like burning in my eyes. I recognized the ladies was grounding fresh green curry. And I said, "What is that?" He said, "Oh, you should taste that." So after that, I have learned that recipe and take on to that recipe to my French technique, what I have learned in Hong Kong with rack of lamb, and combine also, of course, lamb, you have to have mint chutney. Mint, of course, is really a great combination. So I put mint chutney with the Indian, and then the French technique of a rack of lamb, and also the Thai green curry from Chiang Mai. So all these three countries, I put it together into one plate. So this is the way how I form into my cooking of a communication to the world. Then I'll give you another example, another dish, what I have when I went back to Asia to relearn the culture. The northern part, of course, the Peking duck, which is very well known, everybody knows. And also the southern part, which is the barbecue of a char siu style, which is the marinated char siu barbecue pork, which I took that two element of the techniques and tradition of marinating, and I put them two together. So I have the breast, which is marinated char siu style, and then I have the skin of a Peking duck. And then I have made a French style of pate of chicken liver. So I'm using a Peking style garnish, which is the pancake, green onions, coriander, and also some chutneys. And then you smear into one little treasures. And that is a form of how I'm communicating, not just east to the west, and also to the east and the north of one side of Asia. So to continuing my journey, this is something that I always learn about food that is never ending, and also the form of combining all the culture together is make a richer person myself. And every day I feel like a student learning how to cook again to the world. And thank you very much today. I hope to see you in my restaurant.